Dillian the Body Snatcher Whyte here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
So former Unified Cruiserweight World Champion and former WBA Heavyweight World Champion David Haye has given a brief outline for past Tony Bellew, as in the heavyweight division, what his next moves are. And this is what David Haye had to say. Right now, there is no plan. After the fight, it is all dependent on the performance. If the performance is in any way, shape or form similar to the first, then I'd say I'll hang up my gloves and say thank you very much. I've gone out on a win and I'll find something else to do. But if I mysteriously somehow turn back the hands of time and look like 7, 8, 9 years ago, then okay. The heavyweight division could start looking interesting again. The heavyweight division is as good as I've ever seen it. You've got the top level of Joshua and Wilder, and then the step below with the likes of Dillian Whyte, who put on a great performance last time out against Lucas Brown, knocking him spark out in real world-class performance. It's healthy, you've got good young fighters willing to fight each other, and it's a good time to be in the heavyweight division. But for me, I can't think past even one day with Bellew, because I did that in the past. I already had other stuff lined up after the first time round and it went pear-shaped. So I just need to keep 100% focus on not only winning the fight, but winning in spectacular fashion. That is David Haye's statement. And it's kind of good that he's been a little bit level-headed this time round. But we all know David Haye, he will be looking past Tony Bellew. We know exactly what it is. He knows that he didn't perform very well because he was winning in there swinging for the fences. That's not the David Haye that made him a world champion at heavyweight, or put on big fights that got him a fight with Vladimir Klitschko and a very good fight with Derek Chisora, and of course a unified cruiserweight world champion. That's not the kind of performance that he'd done. He looked very, very bulky, looked very sluggish. With David Haye, the thing that made him unique and dangerous was his speed and power. Now, we don't quite know how much power he had against Tony Bellew, or how much power he's got now, but by the looks of him, the way that he bulked up, he was more concerned about how he looked rather than how he performed. He wasn't living the life of a fighter. He was living the life of a Playboy model, is what he was doing, right? Out on the boats, drinking champagne, when he should have been training and grafting real hard and not just pumping iron. Now, there's many different reasons why he lost that first fight. It could just be that Tony Bellew's better than him. Maybe, right? But unlikely is the absolute truth of it. And I do believe that David Haye, he's looking a lot leaner now than what he did. I don't know if it's something to do with him being vegan that has made him kind of bulk up and have to adopt a different style to counter his weight and things like that. I don't know. Maybe it's vegan. I'm hearing loads of different stories about it, but ultimately I don't know. But he has been looking a lot leaner, so therefore I'm expecting a much sharper David Haye and a much more focused one this time round. And he is right to not look past Tony Bellew, but as I said, I'm pretty sure that he is. And it's interesting that he mentioned not only the two champions right now in Joshua and Wilder. Of course, he would love the Joshua fight purely because that's the money fight. And of course, more belts. But he's never once called out Deontay Wilder, which is mysterious to me. Because for me, David Haye of old versus Deontay Wilder, David Haye beats him 7 days a week quite comfortably. He was too fast, too powerful, and we've seen some clips of that in the sparring, but of course the sparring that was edited to David Haye's, it was made to make him look good, is what it was with all that. So who knows, maybe Wilder knocked David Haye on his arse at some point, who knows, in that sparring. But of course all that happened when David Haye was training for Tyson Fury, right? Now, it's interesting though that he mentioned Dillian Whyte and expanded a little bit on him too, because, you know, he just mentioned top level Joshua and Wilder, and then a step below Dillian Whyte. So could this be the fight if he beats Tony Bellew, which I do fully expect him to do so? But if he does and he looks good or whatever, but you know, real quick, I think even if he doesn't look too good, even if he just gets a win, the lure of another payday, because the likes of Dillian Whyte would love to fight David Haye. Dillian has already said this on countless occasions now, and that's a big money fight. David Haye would not turn down a couple of million to go fight Dillian Whyte. He wouldn't do it. But anyway, if he was to beat Tony Bellew, then it looks like Dillian Whyte is the name that he's got in his mind. and I love that fight. I really, really do. So should David Haye beat Tony Bellew? As I said, we don't know. I mean, he talked about mysteriously turning back the times, and in his own head, he believes that he can, is the truth of it. But, you know, he is, late 30s now. His career is winding down, of course. But ultimately, he's still got the power. I'm sure he has. If he can just lose a little bit of weight, get disciplined in the gym with his new trainer in Ismael Salas, who obviously trains Jorge Linares, and obviously his David Haye's protege in Joe Joyce and Willie Hutchinson and many, many others, of course. But even if it doesn't go too well, David Haye, he's got his foot in the door now for promoting his own events with Haymaker Ringstar. So with the likes of Joe Joyce and Willie Hutchinson and Michael Venom Page and Cody Davis, of course, he's just signed up with him now. And this will be good for him. I mean, how many fighters, you know, don't make money in boxing and end up retiring and end up working in an ice cream factory or wherever it may be? Okay, but David Haye's lucky with the fact that he has made a lot of money in his career, so he doesn't have to do anything. But ultimately, he needs something to do. I think all fighters need something to do when they've spent from early life as a child, and who knows, I don't know, maybe even a bit later, from teenager onwards up until they're like late 30s or 40s, just training and fighting. What do you do? So David Haye's got that something to do. He's a promoter, and building events is still keeping him relevant to a point, and of course is keeping him busy. So he's always got that anyway. So, but I think David Haye will only retire when he loses next. And if he loses to Bellew, definitely. If he beats Bellew, for me, it doesn't matter how he looks. If he beats Bellew, then he will fight again, because he will want that Joshua payday. Make no bones about it. If you give him the choice, Joshua or Wilder, he's going to choose Joshua. Why? For money. We all know David Haye loves that coin. He really does. But anyway, so that is David Haye's statement. He says that he's not looking past Bellew, which is great, but he has singled out Dillian Whyte. So clearly he is thinking about potentially fighting Dillian Whyte. Drop your thoughts below. Click that thumbs up. Subscribe. Catch you next video.